Okay, telling the truth in love. Experiment number 6. Um, get a few things out of the way real quick. My goal is really to make these videos every, like once a week, every Saturday. If that doesn't work, then Sunday. That didn't work, so then last night I tried to make a video, and I got a phone call at the very end. And then just now I tried making 2 videos, and my microphone was off, and then the second one, I got a call. So I should probably just turn off my phone. But anyway, my calls. So this video, just again, putting out thoughts, hoping they'll bear some good fruit, to help me figure out how to navigate this life and hopefully help some other people and get some collaboration in that, because we're not meant to do this thing alone. So I was conversing with my friend Bill. This was actually about the extra video I made Friday about division, follow-up video about division. And in that discussion, I was reminded of another thing that actually is related to just the divisiveness around us, which is there's kind of a way in the world that we see, and we ourselves participate in, no doubt we've been guilty of, where we try to bring out change or what we want through force. And the other side of force is coercion. Or conformity, excuse me. Yeah, conformity and coercion. Well, force and coercion would be one side, and then the other side would be conformity. So, it's like, okay, one side says you got to do this, and the other side is expected to just fall in line. And so much happens in this world that way. That's what we see in when there are people in authority, for example. I mean, that's basically the default for authority in the world, right? They're just telling people what to do, and if they don't do it, then sorry for them. There's going to be some consequence. They're going to have to pay to make them fall in line. Now, not everybody's like that. I mean, there's parenting style like that. It's authoritarianism. Authoritarian parenting, not ism, authoritarian parenting style. Now, there's a flip side, which is, hey, just let the kids do whatever they want, and that has its issues because those parents usually end up needing some outside help somewhere along, or the kids do, which would be people who are going to start enforcing boundaries and expectations and things like that. So there's a place for, even laws. So there's a place for expectations and laws and boundaries, but really, if none of us just try to get our own way selfishly, we wouldn't really need laws, would we? If we just cared about each other and loved each other and put the other person above ourselves, we wouldn't really need laws. Kind of reminds me of something Jesus said. But along those lines, so what is this video about? It's about transformation. So what's the flip side of this sort of coercion / conformity system? It's transformation. And we hear that, but it seems like when I hear it, it's not very often, and it's in certain contexts, like corporate programs or things like that. And I was actually debating whether I should make this video on the topic of transformation when, lo and behold, as I was thinking that, synchronicity, there was a butterfly. So that is the ultimate example to me, is this slow, squishy, vulnerable, um, ground-based creature, uh, really, it doesn't. It's not very graceful. Um, Waiting to be eaten, goes through this incredible transformation and becomes free from the ground, becomes graceful, it's beautiful, it's transformed. It's amazing. It's really truly amazing. I mean, who of us wouldn't like to fly, right? It's incredible. Without the aid of an airplane. So the question is, how does that apply to us? Because as far as I know, I've never met anybody who actually exactly resembled a caterpillar. So it's a bit of a leap, right? So what does that mean for us to experience transformation? Well, I've said before, I am a Christian. I follow Jesus and his teachings, and um, there's a passage in the New Testament of the Bible, the Apostles' teachings. This is Paul. It's the book of Romans, and he says, "Do not conform, to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And that's a principle. It's like, okay, how exactly do we do that? All I can say is like my own experience. Um, I wasn't always Christian. I didn't grow up Christian. I became Christian at 22, and I wasn't even an atheist. I was a wishy-washy atheist. I was an agnostic, so I really didn't know what to believe. Not that I didn't have any beliefs. I believed in obligation. I believed in responsibility. I believed in treating people right and such. And my model was my dad, and my standard was my dad. And I had other relationships. I had my family, and family was important. So there were some things I believed, but a lot of what I believed was superficial. It wasn't like deep down in my heart. There was a lot of living, just going with the flow. Let me just put it that way. And so that got me into it kind of led me to some bad places. A lot of darkness, a lot of bad choices, and some relationships, just crossing the line, and things like that. And I had a friend when I was 20 who asked me if I believed in God. That was like the first time anybody ever talked to me about God. And then another one later that year, a stranger asked if I want to study the Bible, which I tried and quit. And then a couple years later, another friend talked to me about God. I would argue with this person. All of a sudden, I became a very staunch atheist, at the prospect that I might possibly be wrong. And so, yeah, I just was not in a good place. There were a lot of other details there, but I was in dire need of transformation because my entire life was conformity. It was just, and by the way, like if you're not conforming to somebody else, you may be just conforming to your own desires, and not really living a transformed life, but just perhaps even just enslaved to your own desires, which were put into you. Somebody planted those seeds. And so, my experiences, I didn't really think anything of Jesus. I never thought about Jesus growing up. I didn't really have a lot of preconceived ideas. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, the Bible, that's for priests, and Jesus, yeah, I've seen him in movies and stuff, and he's on a cross, and, holding a lamb or whatever, and, just not really much direct knowledge. So my friend Eric sat down with me and opened up the scriptures, and he let me see for myself. He let me wrestle. He let me come to my own conclusions. he gave me the opportunity to see what Jesus taught, how he lived. And really it's the words of Jesus, and not just that. It was other people who had learned, probably by a similar process of transformation that I was going through, that they had previously gone through. They learned how to tell the truth in love. And that's what these experiments are all about. It's about telling the truth in love. And yeah, so that's really the thought here. And I just kind of want to end with, I'm still trying to figure this out. I mean, I'm not this that butterfly that I saw earlier. I mean, I'm definitely not there, and may never be there. That may just be my hope that I die with, and I hope for after this life, because I do believe there is something after this life. Ultimately, that's what I'm living for. Is my eternal reward. So, but I think there are a lot of rewards in this life along the way, or blessings anyway, in that transformation process. So, I welcome any thoughts. I feel like none of us walk this walk alone, and we need to do this together. And so I'll just end with this thought. If you're feeling like you're kind of just crawling through life, if you're feeling vulnerable, defenseless, weak, if you're just kind of struggling, not through life, not really making a lot of progress, just getting little nibbles here and there of happiness, moments, but not really a full life, a transformative life. That's what I suggest. That's the life of a caterpillar. And so, not to mention all the predators out there that want to eat caterpillars. And so, yeah, I want to encourage you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe there's some folks I'm sure there are so many people, so much further along in this process of transformation than I am. And, but I want to also bring it back, end it here with just context. We live in a world that lives by force, or that operates by force and conformity. How can we be people that don't try to force our way? How can we be people who don't simply fall in line mindlessly? How can we be people who are transformed by the renewing of our mind, by letting people tell us the truth, people who love us, and be transformed? Love your thoughts.